and James's IT department. I've just had to fix Charlotte's computer remotely, I should add. I should have done my IT voice, actually. Have you tried turning it off and on again? Have you tried turning it off and on again? That's my favourite thing to say. It's so much my favourite thing to say that my girlfriend has broken her laptop over my head. and after I came to, after being knocked unconscious, she said her laptop didn't work, and I said, "Have you tried turning it off again?" Not really. Anyway, hiya. It feels like I haven't seen you both in ages.
It's been so long.
It's been about an hour, isn't it?
About an hour, yeah. Maybe even under that, to be honest.
Maybe less than that. Yeah, so we are Free to Talk TV, joined by Owen and Charlotte and myself, James. Richard is away at the moment. So anyone that joins in and watches, if you catch us like mid-conversation with anything, please join in. Please say hi. Please put a comment. I'm not sure we're going to have many today because it's the week before Christmas, but there might be some people that watch it back, which is fine. So today we're going to be talking about going back to school. I know some of my teacher friends have been desperately going on holiday to make the most of it. But I want to talk about going back to school, possibly what universities, colleges and schools have got planned, what we know of, what we kind of go, oh, that's a good idea, or what we think, that's a bad idea. We're going to talk a little bit about Extinction Rebellion, to find out what you guys know about Extinction Rebellion. And also, we're going to... Oh, hello, Richard. There's Richard.
Hey.
Hey, Richard. You see, he can't stay away. And also, we're going to talk a little bit about Brexit. The reason being is because I've seen something today which just made me laugh, and I want to share it. And then just talk about what you possibly as young people perceive as the effects of Brexit or the future of Brexit, or whether it's actually made any difference whatsoever. So because I like melting your brains. So last week was Afghanistan.
Oh, that's a good example.
This
God.
week it is Brexit. So, but first I want to talk a bit about going back to school or college or whatever. So, when are you going back, Owen? You can start. Tell us what the plan is.
I haven't actually got a plan because I've not chosen to do my top-up degree at Northampton University, just for two personal reasons why. But I'm not doing another educational course at the moment. I haven't signed up to anything, not at all. So my plan is my plan is a bit different to education at the moment. It's a bit crazy.
Okay, do you want to share that plan? Is it still a work in progress? Or
well, at the moment, I've signed a letter or something, or just sent my CV into one of my mum's friends, who's a head teacher in a school in roughly about where we used to have youth club, James.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So
we spoke about this the other day.
We spoke about this. So it's just a volunteer job. It's not a permanent job. I'm just a teacher assistant. Hopefully, maybe in the drama department, maybe. But that's the only.
We'll see how that goes. I just need to interrupt your flow because my friend Chris, hello Chris, Brexit was your fault, James, coming over here and being baldy. I think he's got me there.
You and your left wing crazy.
Yeah, do you know what? Brexit is always the Ramona's fault. That's what we found out, isn't it? It's definitely
you blooming lefty.
Damn lefties. So are you kind of taking a year out, or?
I'm not too sure because at the moment I'm trying to find myself a job. Difficult.
Which I'll be helping you with next week.
Yes, thank you. So the news from my Lego store thing, they were very interested, but clearly they probably wanted someone with a little bit more experience than me, so they've chosen someone else. So I didn't get the job. So that was a bit disappointing because out of all the jobs I signed on for, that's the only one I did a cover letter for.
Oh, mate.
So you can clearly tell how desperate I was. But I'm still looking at the moment. At the moment, it's just Tesco, and I'm just like, It says Rushden, Rugby. I'm like, I'm not traveling that far just to go. It's way too far. So
I mean, because you're 20, aren't you?
Yep.
Yeah, so you're in the different minimum age bracket as well, minimum wage bracket. So it's just not worth it for you, especially if you've got to run your car.
Yeah, so at the moment I'm struggling to find a job, but hopefully to next week with James, it'll be sorted. Hopefully,
we shall have a look, see what we can do about your CV, and see if I can talk to anyone as well. Charlotte, so what are you doing? Because you're are you still a student?
I am. Yeah, I'm going into my last year at university.
Oh, damn students!
Damn
students being all educated. So you're going into your last year at university, your third year.
Yeah.
So what's the plan at Northampton University then? What they doing?
I don't really know. I haven't been obviously given my timetable or anything yet, but I think some of it is still remote learning, is kind of online, and there'll be a few things that are face to face. But I think they're still keeping up the kind of online thing as like a basis for everything. Yeah. But yeah, I'm not too sure, to be honest. I haven't been into the uni since like the end of last year. I haven't been in for so long.
Typical student, not checking what the timetable is. I mean, because so in Owen's situation, obviously we spoke about this before, because you were doing theatre studies, Owen, weren't you?
Theatre and acting, yeah.
So for you to have remote learning is a massive no-no.
Yes.
But Charlotte, how do you feel about the split between remote learning and actually going in purpose?
I think in a way for me it's a little bit easier purely because I live at home and I travel, like I commute to uni. So sometimes if it's like a 9 a.m, I don't mind doing it at home, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't think remote learning is as effective as in like in-person learning. But at the same time, I think some things don't need to be done in face-to-face. That's what I've learned from last year. So like some of it can be done online.
I mean, I think that's the biggest thing, isn't it, really? I mean, in some cases, like, it's Owen's case, right? Remote learning is just, you just can't do it. It's just not effective.
It's not practical for some subjects.
No, it's not. It's absolutely appalling.
But in a lot of cases, it does work. So I want to ask, right, Owen, so for your particular thing, you can't do remote learning. Would you feel like aggravated against another young person if they could do remote learning? Do you think that'll cause a divide between learners at school or university or something?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so, because if someone works more academically, that's easy for them. But if someone's like me and likes to work practically in environments and they work that way, then yes, it's going to be a bit of a disadvantage. So it's not going to be a divide. It's just going to show your learning capabilities a little bit differently.
Yeah. Okay. And Charlotte, I mean, do you think there's? Do you think your generation, like, because it's you and Owen, do you think your generation are just a bit more lax than old people who are going, wow, if you should go to school, you should go to the office to work. That's how it's done. Or do you think the world is changing?
I think the world's changing, probably. I think it's made us realise that we can do much more stuff online. Like, it doesn't have to be in person all the time, especially with the whole lockdown thing to start with, when we couldn't go out. It was kind of to sort of explore what you could or couldn't do work-wise and things like that. So I think the world is changing, definitely. Yeah.
But go on, Owen.
I do think that still going into school is still a good experience, really.
Yeah, definitely.
Because technically speaking, our generation is iGen because of the technology, because it's millennials, then iGen because we are now born with the
I just basically now split it between really old and the rest, because it's like generation X, Y, Z, millennial,
I think
pizza, kebab. I just give up.
You're generation X, generation Y, aren't you?
Oh, I don't know. No. If you were born in the years of 1998 to 2012, you are classified as iGen or Generation Z. So I'm technically
boomer.
No, I'm definitely not a boomer. Definitely not a boomer. So it says, I've just found this random thing for Western generation. It's saying I'm basically sitting on the line of millennial, but they've added an extra one, which is zennial. So it begins with an X. Zennial. I think they just added it in. Yeah, I know.
Oh,
so
cool.
I'm kind of, but in my one, I'll share it. Actually, it'd be easier.
Go on. Go on,
a bit silly. Don't know how close you can see that. Yeah. So, no, I pressed the wrong button. Sorry, I pressed the wrong button. I was trying to zoom in. Press the wrong button.
Oh, 1995. So I was a bit wrong. Yikes.
Yeah. So that's saying, look. So it's got 1975 because I was born in 1982. So it's got 1975 to 1985 Zennial, but then it's got like 1980 to 1994 Millennial, Generation Y, Generation Next. I'm like, make up your mind.
They do that. They do that.
I don't get how they decide for the years either. Like 1994, why is that significant?
I don't know. I mean, I've had this conversation, right? I've got this theory. Right, I've got to kind of explain it whilst we're live, okay? So the thing is about my generation. So I would argue, ignoring that, but those born like in the 70s and 80s, like I say late 70s and 80s, between that period. So we've grown up with a lot of very quick changes of technology, right? So, you know, we were the first ones to have a mobile phone, like personally, really, that wasn't for business. Yeah. I mean, I remember having a pager, which is like ancient.
Really?
But yeah, pager. My mum got me a pager before a mobile, because I only got a mobile when I was like 18 and came to uni, right? Because that was a big thing, right? And I remember it was called an Orange Savvy. You could only see 2 lines of text when you were sending texts. Love that phone. I think I've still got it somewhere. But the thing is, we grew up with these change of technology of like, we knew what a cassette tape was. We knew what an old school telephone was, like the rotary and digital. We had wind up watches and digital watches. Because like, you know, in a lot of schools now, when you talk about the time, you still use a clock, but nobody uses that kind of clock face anymore. You know, I had what's called, so you know what a video is, like before DVDs, but there was a thing called a Betamax. Have you ever heard of a Betamax?
I haven't.
I think I have. I might have.
So we had vinyl, we had cassette tapes, we had CDs, we had MP3 players, right? Before iPods, like they were called mini disc players. We had all this stuff, and then I mean, obviously I'm a geek and I've grown up with all this technology, and now on the computer. And because I've grown up with all them, I know how all of it works, right?
Yeah.
Whereas I have to, you know, sometimes help my mum with stuff, but also people younger than me, like your age, I'm talking about stuff and you're going, what is that? But I still know how it all works. So I kind of think, instead of using that millennial stuff, that I sit in this weird area, I'm like, I just know what's going on.
You're like in the middle, aren't you?
Yeah, like really in the middle, having to explain stuff to both age groups. So yeah, anyway, went off at a bit of a tangent there. It's fine. Yeah, so combine that with like remote learning, because I think it's the older generation above me, like older than me, they're the ones that are kind of almost more resentful, because it's like, well, I had to go to the office when I, you know, for 40 years, why shouldn't you go to the office? And I'm like, well, because it's actually the overheads for a business, it saves them loads of money, and if I can do the job from home, what's the point, you know?
Exactly.
So, I mean, do you think all this divide, because you are the young people, Charlotte and Owen, do you think it's more often than not young and old as a differentiating thing, rather than a left versus right, or say racial diversity or whatever? What do you think is the biggest divider for working this stuff out?
I think it would be for older generations realizing about the newer generation, how the new generation has grown up with all this stuff when they haven't.
Yeah.
How significantly more different it is, and how quick it's come around.
I didn't say the age gap.
Yeah.
Certainly, people over the age of probably 65 plus will say that how they studied and learned is completely different to how we learn now.
Well, it's know, if you didn't take stuff in, you got the cane, basically, back in those days.
Or get the rubber thrown at you.
Oh no, it wasn't a rubber. It was more like a big. I mean, so you guys didn't even have a chalkboard. This is what I'm talking about. Oh my god!
Actually, at my old secondary school, one of the teachers in the primary school, who taught year 5 and year 6, she had a chalkboard. She had a whiteboard, but it was very small. It was a chalkboard. She was very traditional.
Yeah.
So
did they throw the chalk at you?
I wasn't actually put into that.
The chalk rubber, which was just basically a big piece of wood with some felt round it.
Yeah. No, because my secondary school is a mix of primary and secondary, so I went straight into year 7. But I did have a trial day sort of thing in that year class, so yeah. But I don't think she threw it. But then again, the school's closed now permanently, so never mind.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, never mind.
Right. Anyway, so back to school and more stuff. So I want to talk a little bit about teachers. So, do we think teachers have done a good job for the last 18 months?
I think they've done their best. Yeah. I mean, because my mum's a teacher, and I think I've firsthand seen how difficult it has been to like organize, kids who need to come into schools and who don't. Parents just turning up expecting their kids to be in. Like planning sessions online and things like that. So I think given, the short amount of time they had to prepare and things, I think they've done a really good job. This is
Richard is in agreement as well there. So
yes.
What about you, Owen? Do you think teachers have done a good job over the last 18 months?
Okay.
Your mum's a teacher as well, isn't she? So I'm wondering if you two are keeping stum just in case she hears you.
Yeah, my mum is a teacher. My mum is a teacher at a special school in town called the Spires Academy. So and it deals with children who have been expelled from like public schools and just have a bit more of a learning difficulty. That's all. So it's a bit more of an advanced school in some description, but it's still a primary school sort of thing. My mum has definitely been stressed as hell for it. But I do think that ever since 2021 came around, teachers have evolved much better than they have been from 2020. Because at the very beginning of 2020, they had to deal with it, and it was a bit rough. New school term happened in 2020. They were okay, but still not on the off the rough rails. But January this year, they've definitely picked up the pace and got themselves into a standing point where they can stand their ground.
Right. Okay.
And certainly coming to the end, when some things have been lifted due to vaccinations and stuff, they have definitely stand their ground about schools and online learning. So it's been a learning curve for them, but certainly this year the last 6-7 months have been the best ones for them. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, because the reason why I ask is now I have been looking through the news today, and I haven't managed to find confirmation of something I saw yesterday, which was spoken. I think it was BBC Breakfast News, right?
Yeah.
And there was talk that teachers would be made responsible for checking whether pupils have tested positive or negative, or even in some cases have actually been vaccinated, right? Before any. Yeah. So, and I think I was definitely on the side of what?
Why is it the teacher's responsibility?
Yeah, because that's what I was asking. I wanted to check if I was just going mad, obviously. But do we think checking for vaccinations in children or testing for? I mean, obviously they can do like a temperature thing, but actually doing testing of these kids, is it teachers' responsibility?
I don't think it is at all.
No.
Whose responsibility is it? Whose responsibility is it?
Parents.
What, Charlotte's? Just because Owen just pointed down, it's like Charlotte's responsibility. Right, so we're gonna have Charlotte. You're now responsible for 30 million children.
Well, I think to a certain extent, it's the parents' responsibility, I guess. If they're sending their child to school with COVID or whatever, I think they should be checking. But also, they're having the vaccine and stuff it's not compulsory. And also children under a certain age can't get it anyway, can't get the vaccine or anything. So I don't know, get maybe like a health and safety person or like a medic or someone that the school hires.
But that would involve hiring someone new, wouldn't it?
Which
would cost people money. Whereas you've already got some members of society that have been had everything thrown at them under a pandemic for little, well, no pay increase. Because it's like that when people say, well, I get 6 weeks off at summer. It's like, no, they don't. They really don't. I just feel like people just don't know what's going on. Anyway, yeah. So I just wanted to check on that. I wasn't going mad and thinking, because obviously we all know I'm a loony lefty. Going, I don't think it's teachers' responsibility to be medical professionals. You know, being the loony lefty I am. Right. Okay. So I want to also talk about Extinction Rebellion. Because Extinction Rebellion have been in London. I think it was started yesterday. And I wanted to see, do you know who Extinction Rebellion are?
No.
Never heard of them.
Have you seen anything on the news about Extinction Rebellion?
Nope.
No.
Well, it's a good job you're here for this loony lefty to educate you. So Extinction Rebellion, basically climate activists, right? Okay. So they're called XR for short, Extinction Rebellion. The reason why they're called that is because they want to bring the international community and make them aware of how the climate crisis is affecting the world. And they're doing that through protest. Now, are we allowed to protest anymore?
Well, it's got to be like a controlled one, hasn't it?
Yeah, a controlled, peaceful protest.
And according to Preeti Patel, you have to be quiet as well. But anyway, but that hasn't stopped like tens of thousands of people like going to London. And they're protesting by, well, they started off by they created a giant pink table, right? And handcuffed themselves around it. They've like super glued themselves to faces because it's all just peaceful protest. So the police have to come along, they have to unstick them or wire, and then they just go limp and go, carry me. Because basically everyone in Extinction Rebellion is over dramatic. But it's because it makes it difficult for the authorities to get rid of them. Now there's been some arguments about this, and also I should say one of the councillors that we had on shared something about this, that one of the co-founders of Extinction Rebellion allegedly drives a diesel car.
Okay.
Which diesel is obviously bad for the environment. And I feel like
karma.
So it is karma, but the councillor has made this point because I haven't. It was on Facebook. I haven't argued with him yet because we've not yet.
Not yet.
I haven't read into it, so I'm not informed enough to argue about it yet. Like, do your own research on Facebook. But I feel like a lot of the time when people bring up the climate crisis, they go, "Well, you drive a car." It's like, well, I still have to work, don't I? Do you think that's a valid? Do you think it's a valid criticism of someone that goes, "I want to save the planet," and then go, "Well, you drive a car"? Do you think that's allowed? Do you think that's acceptable?
I don't know. It's a weird one, isn't it? Because I mean, most people drive cars. Most people need cars to do their jobs. So
yeah.
I don't know,
well, Owen, get a bicycle. Yeah, do you know what, Charlotte? You get a bicycle. Cycle. You just walk everywhere. How long would it take you to walk from Rushden to Northampton?
Have a look. Let me have a look.
Yeah, have a look at walking. Well,
I reckon it'll take a good few hours, maybe.
I'm gonna guess 7 hours. That's what I'm gonna guess.
Right, okay.
I don't think it'll take that long.
Yeah. So there were apparently. I'm just gonna share this picture. So there were about 50 people arrested during the protest. Okay. There's a little picture of. There's the pink table. There you can see it. So they had attached themselves to the legs of the table. They kind of handcuffed themselves there and laying in on the highway. Oh, Richard has just checked. 5 hours, he says.
5 hours. 5 hours.
Right, Richard.
I'm not going to do that. I can't lie.
I'm not going to do that. I'm a student. It means I'll have to get up really early. Yeah, so the police have now dismantled like this giant table they erected. It's fine. But the whole idea was to... Oh, there you go. There she goes. She's just laying, like, carry me. Because it takes like 4 police officers to carry you, basically.
You're
when you
like
do
a dead
that.
weight. You're so heavy, aren't you?
That's what it is. So, I mean, protesting climate, have they done it right?
I mean, if they've done it in a peaceful way, I mean, I don't know.
What was the table made out of?
I think it was just wood, actually.
Isn't technically speaking, cutting down trees and using wood, getting rid of oxygen sort of things as well, because that also affects the climate as well.
Okay, wait, do you know what? In that case, we should not do anything. So nobody should do nothing. We'll just carry on doing what we're doing. Is that acceptable?
No.
No.
I'm just saying. That
I know you just say, but the thing is, from my point of view, Owen, that's like what's called a straw man argument, right? So as is like, I feel like the councillor's thing about this, the co-founder driving a diesel car. It's like, you have to do it. You have to protest in some way. You have to drive that car to work. I mean, unless the co-founder is obviously a multi-millionaire, right? Which I don't think they are. But that's like telling me that, well, you know, if I truly am a climate activist, right, I mustn't drive a car. I can't be on the computer because my computer has got, is made with like lithium batteries. Lithium is it's all this stuff.
And then you can't do anything, can you?
Can't do anything. Oh, okay, we'll just let the corporations effectively rape the earth and take in all the money. Let's just let that carry on, because that's the thing. That's what I feel. The counter argument. That's what they're trying to force on us. They're trying to force us into silence so that we don't do anything.
I mean, in a way, actually, they did protest successfully because they got on the news.
Yeah.
I mean, they did what they wanted to do, but
get awareness.
I don't know how well it's going to make people think about climate change and all that stuff.
Well, it starts a
conversation. Yeah. I don't know how much it's going to actually cause change, but I mean, it's a start, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I would say they have been.
I mean, because there's very simple ways for us three to kind of affect this. Now, I'm not going to go on a diatribe about being a vegetarian or vegan or anything like that, because some of my friends have done that, because I know lots of counter arguments to that. It's just about being more responsible, really. So when you go shopping, right, here's a big thing, because me and my girlfriend, we get a veg delivery in a cardboard box. We don't buy plastic that covers the veg. You know, when you go and it's like, oh, look at this lovely, you a peeled orange in this plastic case. But if only that orange had some kind of protective layer, it could have used before. Stuff like that, you know.
It's always like taking reusable bags and things.
Reusable bags, reducing your plastic footprint.
Bottles, things like that.
Yeah, reusable stuff. I mean, plastic footprint is a big one. Buy glass, right? Buy glass bottles of stuff. So if you get some tomato ketchup or something, try and find one made of glass. And there's always some, because glass is easier to recycle than plastic, because almost all plastic can't be recycled. All that kind of stuff. And obviously, if you're going to be a vegetarian or vegan, you can have an impact as well. But I'm not going to be a veg or vegan to be no. But also a really important way is to vote with your money. So who here likes McDonald's?
Me.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Should we eat McDonald's though, Charlotte? No, not really. Why not?
Because bad.
Because it's bad. So, right, I mean, I've got a good friend who works at McDonald's, right? And I was amazed when all their eggs, you know, for the McMuffins and stuff, all their eggs are free range, they say. But they're not organic free range, they're free range. So there's a few positives, right? But it's like the chicken nuggets. Have you ever seen how a chicken nugget is made?
Yeah, they're disgusting, aren't they?
Pretty bad. And also like the transport, and you know, even though they try and get rid of the plastic, there's still plastic on the cups and stuff. So
I mean, they can't win, can they?
Can't win.
You can't get rid of all of it either, can you?
No, you can't. But you can go there less, should we say? Go there less, or if you do go there, can you fill my water bottle, please, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Right. Anyway, so we're half hour in. I want to get on to the next one because
the last topic.
Well, kind of the last topic. I've got kind of extra because because it kind of involves McDonald's. See, I've done a transition here. A lovely transition.
Nice.
Hello, Lars. Hola, how you doing? Hola. So Lawrence will probably love this.
You need a little transition music, just like transition. No, it's this way. Transition.
Love this bit because I do want to talk about Brexit a little bit. But it's now I should add that before I show what I'm about to share, because I know Loz and other people go get a bit angry with me, right? It is from a very left-wing source that I'm shared, but it does relate to Lawrence. You just stole my joke there. Glad these two haven't seen it. But it's it was related to McDonald's and Brexit and the whole stuff that's going on with the pandemic and stuff. Okay, so I'm just going to add this in. So, who's heard the news about McDonald's running out of milkshakes?
I haven't actually, but I know that the machines never work anyway.
Yeah, that's my point. They never run anyway.
Literally, I'd say half the time I want to go, they're just not working. I'm like,
but obviously this has hit the news. Richard saw it this morning, excellent. But this hit the news because Nando's have what are they?
They ran out of chicken, didn't they?
They ran out of chicken again.
Yes, I had to shut some, like 50
yeah.
Nando's. Yeah.
Now, obviously, I'm showing this from a very left-wing source that is a Remainer. I need to put that out, right? Yeah. Now, I did vote to Remain. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I feel that a lot of these points are still pertinent to the extended Brexit conversation, but I find it really annoying that the bit that McDonald's have run out of milkshakes is apparently the most important. So it's just like right. So fishing, farming, and haulage is devastating. I think I need to go explain why McDonald's have run out of milkshakes and Nando's have run out of chicken. Have you read anything about the lorry driver shortage? You know anything about that?
No.
I've heard a bit about it.
Heard a bit about it. So with the lorry drivers, there's been a shortage of lorry drivers, really, because it goes back to 2018. So before we actually kind of went through with the Brexit stuff. So the thing is about lorry drivers in this country, like British ones, like a friend of my family was a lorry driver. He unfortunately died of COVID a few months ago, 54. But they are an aging group. So I think I read that we're like 100,000 lorry drivers short now after Brexit, because obviously no freedom of movement for European lorry drivers, but also because loads of lorry drivers have retired, right? And I couldn't find, I didn't have enough time to look into this, but because I have a family friend who was a lorry driver who died of COVID. Now, being a lorry driver is not well paid. You do have to stop in the most awkward of places, and your diet isn't the best.
No,
okay,
it's all fast food, isn't it?
It's all fast food. So I would be actually quite interested to see, well, how many actual lorry drivers caught COVID, not died, but caught COVID and then couldn't work, basically because of it. So I think that'd be an interesting thing. But an afternoon, Casey, nice to see you. I'm going to get to your points in a second, Lars, as well. So it all comes down to what's called logistics and being able to deliver. So empty supermarket shelves, it says there, pubs with no beer, restaurants with no supplies or staff, food rotting on farms, firms asking to use prisoners as staff. This is the main thing that made me want to really scream lots of very bad words. So what you two, from seeing that, whose fault is it? Is it what fault is it? Is it Brexit? Is it the pandemic? Is it naughty leprechauns?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's hard to put it down to just one thing, isn't it? Because I'm sure both of them have had an impact on, COVID, with obviously at the start when we were running out of stuff all in shops and whatever. That was, I mean, that could have been partly due to Brexit, but I know that was mostly like panic buying and things like that. But also, Brexit will have an impact with supplies coming into the country and things like that. So yeah, I don't know.
I mean, because I do feel, also a really big thing there is Northern Ireland peace is threatened. I don't know how much you guys know about Northern Ireland, but I might save it for what is So a different series where we do some educational bits. Anyway,
what is instead of what if? I'm joking.
So I've got planned to do a series called What Is, and we pick something big, like a massive idea, because what I found from last week with Afghanistan, and actually explain it and see if we can get some proper people onto.
Oh yeah, that would be intriguing. Lars,
Now,
you'll like that. You'll like what?
Yeah, it will. I think he will like it. Yeah. So I feel like because Brexiteers, right? I mean, yes, because they call Remainers Ramonas, right? And some of the stuff that was warned about hasn't come true, but some of the stuff that was warned about has come true. And I feel like Brexiteers don't want to say that they've been wrong.
Yeah.
Does anyone else think that? Or is it?
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I think if you voted for something as well and you had full confidence in it, you don't want to. It's like with anything, you don't want to be wrong if you believe in it. So, I do agree with you.
Yeah, because a shortage of staff, right? Because obviously, I used to work in pubs, didn't I?
Did you?
And yeah, I did. Yeah. And I know that there's a huge shortage across the country because it's badly paid, and you get a lot of people coming over from Europe who are at uni on like a year visa or whatever, and they're not coming. They're not working anymore because the hours are terrible, the pay's terrible, and you have to deal with the general public who, honestly, are terrible. Yeah, I mean, Charlotte, you know this from working face to face with people. But also on that, so Lars, Dorman World goes. They lost apparently 136,000 due to Brexit and lockdown because they're retraining as Dorman and going home. I mean,
that's dormant. Like literally, just open the door. Here you go.
Yeah. No. Loz will back this up. So, I mean, I've worked the doors, and I mean, Loz, I think, was one of the few actual white British guys I knew. I mean, when I was in London, it was just like you had all ethnicities. When I looked after a couple of pubs in London, it was just how it was. It was just, I think Dorman were the true multicultural stuff of it, right? Like really. And it's, I just feel like Brexiteers just don't want to admit they're wrong. I mean, I think extremism on both sides is works the same. So extremists on like Ramonas don't want to admit where they've been proven wrong. But what do you think, Owen?
I'm not too sure. I'm honestly, I'm not too sure. That's all I really have to say.
That's fine.
I'm not too sure at all.
You're allowed not to be sure. You're allowed not to be sure. But I do want to reshare this because this is the thing because Brexit it does make me laugh sometimes. So I saw this bit. So you won't be able to probably see the comments, but someone's put on there, Brexiteers will go one of two ways with this. We knew what we were voting for. We knew it meant less choice, food shortages, and chaos. But it's a price worth paying for sovereignty. Or number two, fake news, Project Fear, nothing to do with Brexit, despite this issue not being present anywhere else. And immediately, when you go down, it's like food shortages. Where? I wouldn't call a McFlurry a type of food. Where is the other one? Just liar. Liar. Just liar. But then obviously there's people coming. Do you know there's no shortages here in Germany? There's no shortages here in Denmark and Ireland, which is still part of the EU. We've still got chicken.
That's all right then. As long as they've
got chicken. I don't know. So yeah, people pushing for evidence of what's going on. Just a bit weird. But obviously, Lawrence, so you've said yes, use the prisoners as staff or fuel when we've run out of coal. So that's a very mean thing to say, Lars. But I feel that I mean, I don't think we should use prisoners as labour, especially not in food. No. What do you guys think?
Definitely not. Definitely not. No.
Definitely not. Why not?
Well, especially in food sort of things, a lot of them take longer to be rehabilitated in prisons, so they could have some eager views of what to do if they were working in food sort of stuff. But in general, if they were going to be used as staff for other things outside of prison, it might be a bit risky. like if maybe I'm just gonna think on the top of my head now. Packaging for Amazon, for instance. I know your views on Amazon are a bit different, James.
Yeah, I think
But
Lawrence, I'll show your comment in a second. I'm just talking specifically about food, Loz, if I'm honest, food packaging.
If they were just packaging like parcels of like gifts that are already pre-made, or they're putting like, say for instance, a toy in a box with a bit of bubble wrap and sending it off.
Yeah.
Maybe you can get away with that, but when it actually comes to like prepping food, like they have to make the sandwiches, like putting the sandwich in, putting the cream in it, putting the sauce in it, I don't know, ham and a bit of bacon in there, cut. You have no idea of how many times they could actually go like, take the ham out, keep it for myself, put something else in that is a bit not nice.
Yeah.
Wrap it up, send it off. I get the meat. He gets to die. You get the picture.
What about you, Charlotte?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just a bit of a dodgy.
I mean, do you think we could use use prisoners' labour in another way?
Well, like you said, if you were doing kind of, I watched a documentary not too long ago, and they were farming. I think it was a prison in like South Africa or something. And if they had good behaviour, they would sort of be farming crops. So they're just like picking carrots and stuff out of the ground. And I think that's quite good. You know, that was kind of a reward for them. You know, they got outside, they viewed it as something positive, and they wanted to do it. Yeah. So I think something like that would be effective. But I think, especially with food and things, I'm not sure.
I mean, because I completely understand where Loz is coming through with this. They get paid a wage, earn it. They get degrees paid for because you can study in prison, which is, Loz, I must say, is part of rehabilitation. I think in a lot of ways. But I just don't think I can agree with food, like in any way, shape, or form. I don't know what it is. I just have this feeling of prisoners being around to prepare food, right? I don't know. It's something off with it. I think
something a bit iffy about it.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. And Loz has asked whether Owen actually knows how to make a sandwich. Ham, bacon, cream, ab sauce. Owen, mate, do you know how to make a sandwich?
I do know. Okay, listen. I was just thinking on the top of my head. So I do make my own sort of sandwiches at home.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. I do make my own sauce. I do actually make my decent sized sandwich. So I usually get like a French stick, for instance.
Yeah.
I usually put in the French stick a bit of sweet chili sauce first. Then I would get like a bit of like roast turkey or roast chicken. Just roll that up a little bit and just put that in. I then put like some lettuce and salad in there. Very much and easy. And to all the Polish people that don't particularly understand, because my dad just told me this. They don't understand why you put crisps in a sandwich.
I love crisps in a sandwich.
Crisps in a sandwich is great. So I would just get like a prawn cocktail or salt in there, and put it into like that. Nice.
Nice bit of crunch.
Nice bit of crunch. Okay. Right. So Loz has also added Mackie D staff can't be trusted with food and they're professionals. What about prisoners? I mean, are they professionals? Are McDonald's staff technically professionals?
No, because, I mean, you get very limited training, don't you?
Yeah. It's a minimum wage job. I don't think you can call them professionals. I mean, I know what you did, where you're going with that, Loz, but
I know they're getting paid for it, and you know they had to go through like an interview process and stuff. But I wouldn't say they're professionals.
No, but then again, they are about my age and Charlotte's age anyway.
Well, it's because you're young and it's cheap labour. Because the minimum wage for you guys is different to like everyone else. That's what it is. It's cheap labour.
They're only doing it because
that's basically what it comes down to. They want cheap labour so they can make money. That's why they're asking these prisoners to make stuff, because it's cheap labour. So they don't have to offer a living wage or a better wage to encourage people to come. Like Tesco's have been offering lorry drivers an £1,000 sign-up thing because they're so short. Because lorry drivers don't get paid a great amount of money. That's the truth. Anyway, enough of my loony lefty. Let's raise wages for people because it will work. It will work for lorry drivers. Anyway, so before we finish, got one last little news thing I want to share. Where is my button? So the BBC News have talking about this. So, tabletop gaming, the therapy of fighting with miniature dragons. What have we done today, guys?
Dungeons and Dragons.
We've been playing some Dungeons and Dragons. So it's got more mainstream. However, my geek annoyance really went off here, right? Because tabletop gaming, the therapy of fighting with miniature dragons, and they're playing a game called Kill Team, which doesn't have any dragons in it. And it really annoyed me. Really annoyed me. It's a bit like why I don't watch was it The Big Bang Theory, because it's not funny.
They get it all wrong, don't they?
My dad loves The Big Bang Theory. My dad loves. Well, in Big Bang Theory, they play Dungeons and Dragons.
They play
okay. So, in the Big Bang Theory episode where they play Dungeons and Dragons, because it was currently out, they were playing 4th edition Dungeons and Dragons, when if they were real geeks, they should have been playing Advanced Dungeons and Dragons 2nd edition, or maybe even Dungeons and Dragons 3.5 edition. They wouldn't have been playing 4th edition how they would have been. They were playing the wrong version for the TV show. And also, they're just wrong. There we go. So there's my little run.
That's fine.
So we've got... They're just talking about Dungeons and Dragons. They're using a lot of Warhammer here, which is fine. I think these ones are actually what's called Mantic games. That's Kings of War. That's a different game. So they're just talking about how it's a positive, creative community for people in lockdown. Like I've like painted loads to reveal any stress for me, like paint some Star Wars stuff. But you can see how intricate they are. This is a model who's called Gazgal Thraka, if I remember rightly. There's a big orc. Again, there's no dragons in that. There's no dragons. I'm gonna go back to this.
Stop Stop now.
But other last bits of news, Lawrence, I was going to bring it up. The Paralympics have started. I'm really looking forward to this. Actually,
I love the Paralympics.
Paralympics are quite good, to be honest. They are great.
Yeah,
I prefer it to the normal Olympics, I think.
I do too. I just think it's more empowering, especially for young people that might have a physical disability or a mental disability. I just think it's really, really, really important, and I'm so glad it's on Channel 4, really. Which, you know, with Channel 4 being a left-wing TV station and wanting to share the Paralympics, because I do need to let everyone into a little secret, and I don't say this very lightly, but a few years ago, I was at a pub with a mate of mine and a guy I know. It's just a guy I know, right? And I was talking about how much I like the Paralympics. And this guy that I know basically went on a tirade about how terrible it was. It shouldn't be on TV. They shouldn't, you know, it's just, it does nothing. And I had to walk out of the pub. I left my drink and walked away from him because otherwise I would have got very angry. Yeah, I just found it. I mean, why? I just didn't get it. I don't get it.
No.
Yeah, it's just not a very nice person. And then obviously Lawrence has said Dungeons and Dragons is helping prevent teenage pregnancy. Yes, it is. Because Lawrence comes from that old, I'd say, stereotype of all geeks never having girlfriends, which is kind of true. It's kind of true. And Northampton Paralympian Ellie Simmons plays What's Wrong with Them Bingo? What?
No.
Yeah.
You might want to, Loz, I think you might want to talk to James about that.
Yeah.
Let him know about that, because that's a bit odd.
Right, so we're going to come up to things that we want to share. Or fun things. I've got 2 things. So, Owen, you go first. What's a fun, nice thing you want to share with everybody?
Okay, a fun, nice thing was also, well, first of all, it was playing Dungeons and Dragons at last with you guys. It was absolutely fun. But as well as that, my mum went away to my uncle for just 2 days over the weekend, and came back with an invitation to my cousin's 30th, which is going to be a masquerade ball. So I'm going to get all dressed up. I'm going to be
excellent.
I'm not going to be wearing like those traditional like proper masquerade masks. I'm going to see if I can dig out my Nightwing mask.
Just wear that out, fine.
Yeah, well,
I like it.
At least it gives my character a little bit of flair.
Bless you. That sounds great. What about you, Charlotte?
I really enjoyed today.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going out on Saturday and seeing all my friends and stuff. So it'll be nice.
You can have a little dance, are you?
Little pre-drink, James. Yeah.
Oh God.
Pre-drinks, drug.
It's not pre-drinks. It's just having a drink. That's what it's called. But you're just having a drink of orange squash, aren't you? That's it. Yeah, just some sweet orange squash. That's fine. Right. Oh, that might be pushing the boat out too far. So Richard went to the cinema on Saturday to see Free Guy with a friend, and then watched WD SummerSlam PPV pay-per-view with a couple of friends. And your favorite female wrestler returned. Oh, who's your favorite female wrestler? I can't remember. And then he went Boost. Oh, you went Boost with Leanne yesterday, did you, Richard? I saw some of the pictures. Sounded great. Yeah. So I've got two little videos. So. Do you want to see a cat driving a Formula One car?
Cool.
Okay.
Let me just share this. There you go.
Where do you find these videos?
Oh, I'm just a weirdo, aren't I? So there's a cat. I don't think there's any. There is sound. There we go. He's. I think he's ready. I think he's ready to set off. Just perfectly timed.
Look at it. I'm glad it's not scared.
Yeah, so I think you get the idea.
That's mad.
Yeah, Richard, you're right. I do find all of these on Reddit. You're correct.
Probably.
So yeah. There we go. That's that one. Right. So, Loz, you've had your rugby contract extended after an 18-month hiatus. That's really good news. Really like that. I'm going to be allowed out soon, so I think we should go catch up and have a coffee or something, mate, at some point. But I do have one more. Now this one by far I think is my favourite video of a long time, and it's someone playing a little game.
Oh, he's even doing the.
They didn't even look real, did they?
Yeah, there we go.
He's a full-on Looney Tunes character.
Yeah, it just made me really happy. There we go. Right, anyway, well, thanks for everyone for commenting, Richard and Loz, and saying hi, and Casey. Thanks for the chat, guys. I shall see you again. When am I seeing you all next? I don't know. Next week?
Tuesday, isn't it? Yeah.
You'll be talking to me tomorrow.
Oh yeah, we've got Sea of Thieves tomorrow. Excellent. Yeah, so we'll have that. But Charlotte, I shall see you next week. Owen, I'll see you tomorrow. Everybody else, see you very soon. Everybody say bye to the stream.
Bye-bye.
Everybody. Bye.